A kind day to you all, I'm Kinsmarck.
I'm Violeta.
Checking in as a slight change in plans came up, because due to scheduling constraints, I couldn't prepare as much content as I had intended for the channel to cover the time that we're spending in California this week. So, because of some housing concerns as well, I may have some issues with creating content of the usual sorts of formats, like covering games and such, as I usually do, because the company that we're staying with, he's a close friend of mine. He is just the most generous of people around. So a friend of his, also active military as he is, had some clerical errors come up for his housing. So he was essentially homeless for a while and needed a place to stay. So my friend was like, hey man, I have an apartment, come stay with me. That does, however, mean that there are 5 of us staying in the same apartment. And yeah, so we got like air mattresses and stuff. And so that means that we're all like, we all get along and it's all fine. It just means that we're all kind of like stumbling over each other. So audio issues are going to come up. I probably couldn't set up a clear video recording space. We have all the laptop, the software, the programs, all of that. It's just a matter of, again, clear content of a level of quality that I approve of and that I'm willing to allow on the channel. So we may kind of change plans a little for just the next few coming days, and just kind of record a few travel logs, kind of the way that...
Tell you guys what we've been up to.
Yeah, so I figure we'll kick it off.
Want to sit over there?
Yeah, sure. In this first one, I'll try to keep these to just a few minutes each. One for power camera life. Also just because I don't necessarily want to flood the channel with a lot of long videos. So this is actually the first time since I was probably about 10 years old that I had actually, and my knee is giving me issues. That's something I've never really mentioned on the channel. I have a terrible knee. Anyway, and it's getting really worse because we had to climb to almost 5,000 feet in altitude across some of the mountains to get over here from Texas all the way to California, crossing Arizona, New Mexico.
It didn't do good.
Not in that order.
It didn't do good.
It meant that I think it was the pressurization of the different air molecules at all those altitudes changing so dramatically, because we went from that altitude to almost sea level in a couple of hours. So
that does crazy things
also,
with pressure.
Calisthenics. My arm is getting tired holding a camera out far enough.
Do you want me to try to hold it? I mean, my hands shake.
I got it. I can double fist the camera.
So that sounds dirty.
Oh my. So it was cool to actually see some of... I wish I had actually snapped some camera footage of it. I may on the way home and share it with y'all then. The cool rock formations that are out there. Because I'm used to seeing a lot of the stone formations, especially where highways are cut through some of them, where you can see like the literally millions of years of rock strata of just the various layers that have formed, and they cut the highways through them. There are some of these areas where it just looks like the gods themselves have pebble collections that they just sprinkled over hills, and it just looks like a lot of freestanding gigantic stones that I'd never seen that kind of formation. It was really cool to see.
And so this is actually the first time either of us have been in California since we were kids.
Yeah, I came to visit a cousin of mine who is far older than I am. She's pushing 50s at this point. When I was a kid, my grandma actually took me out here. That was only to the Los Angeles area, though. This is the first time I've come to the San Diego area, and it is gorgeous.
It's really pretty. Last time I was here, I was
pan around. Like, just look at, like, even the architecture around here. The entire city is like this. It's one of the cleanest cities I have ever seen. This place is freaking stunning.
And I really like looking at all the hills and mountains with...
It's like
just really pretty.
Comfortable high 50s, low 60s temperature-wise. You get a little humidity coming from the coast, which is just a few miles away from us right here. It is gorgeous out here. And
really is. A
the
nice
hills...
clear day.
Again, I'll try to catch some footage of this for another check-in vlog on the way home, because, well, actually, I'll get to that in a moment. I can see at this point why so many of what get called spaghetti westerns, films that were of the western genre, filmed in Italy. This was a common thing several decades ago. Especially for films that were meant to have a setting in California, or like in western Arizona.
Yeah, like
because a lot of the hills out here, it was striking. Like again, to relate to a little of a gaming sort of topic,
looks like
it really reminded me of a lot of the like photos and footage I've seen of places in Italy. And call me a nerd all you will, it had a striking resemblance to some of the areas encountered in Assassin's Creed, because a lot of those are set in Italy. So Brotherhood, Revelations.
No, Revelations.
Actually, Revelations is.
It's
in
only
Italy.
2 in Brotherhood.
Yeah, it really was striking. Like as a kid, even like in college, even when I took a few film classes, and they described what spaghetti westerns were and that they were filmed in Italy. I thought it was kind of absurd. I'm like, how could anywhere that isn't the American Southwest even remotely resemble it? And it does. It is
really
striking.
Does.
Again, I'll try to capture some of the footage of that to show some of y'all, especially, I know we have a lot of international viewers, so I know some of y'all may get curious about that. Anyway, the other change in plans that I should mention is I'd initially intended to come home via plane, because at first I thought it was cheaper to do so. However, when I was checking prices, it seems Expedia lied to me, because when I was checking that, even though I had checked for the options, so I mean, this is travel review at this point for sites and recommendations, check whether it is you are seeing the price for as many travelers as you have indicated, because that isn't the prices I was seeing when I initially checked the searches, even though I said that there were a couple of us. Because it was when I checked the additional fees and such that it showed, oh, this is the cost for multiple people, even though you input that in your initial search. So it actually came to several $100s more than I was willing to spend. So then I was like, all right, let me check the already kind of stout train prices, and they were indeed lower. Cool thing is we can check more bags that way. We can actually carry several personal items onto the train, and that will also make for a cool opportunity to catch some scenery through the windows, because it's a 35-hour train ride from California to Houston, here in Texas again. And
we have an 8-hour layover, too.
Yeah, we'll have around 8 to 9-ish hours that we're going to have to spend from the train that's going to take us from San Diego to LAX, and then from LAX we're going to spend the rest of the train ride out to Houston. However, the interim of time from the initial train ride to catching on to the one that will take us to Houston, that's a long time. So we're actually going to basically, kill an afternoon in LA.
Which is kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, we may catch a movie. I may do an impromptu movie review of whatever we see. I don't know.
We don't know.
We'll
we haven't
see.
Figured that one
I'm
out
kind of
yet.
calling everything off the cuff at this point, because again, my entire plan for how I was going to cover this week was shaken up, because again, I because of scheduling concerns, couldn't produce as much prior to leaving as I'd intended, and I apologize for that. I seriously do. And I had then intended, all right, if my friend is at work all day, I can just record and set up a little space to do so in his apartment. Well, now that there are several more people staying there, I don't want to disturb them. I don't want to put them out. So I can't really record in there, and there isn't any place to do so around here either. So I have to kind of come up with impromptu things that I hate to compromise the theme of the channel, because we usually just cover entertainment sorts of things. This is more just kind of travel logging. However, I think some of you, at least, stick around more for us than necessarily the content we cover.
Well, I think
it's
travel
a shared
logs
interest.
can be fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty excited to see what all San Diego and the surrounding area.
Yeah, we're gonna check out the world famous San Diego Zoo. So that much I will absolutely cover in video.
Hopefully, we'll be able to actually take our camera and video with us to the zoo.
It would surprise me if we can't.
I don't
know if we'll have the ability to capture video there. They may have a rule against that. Still images, at least. We can capture those, and then I may stitch them together along a vlog that I conduct afterward.
We'll do whatever we can to get as much of that.
Yeah, again, apologies for my knees kind of stiffening up. I need to get up and walk. Apologies for some inconsistent and experimental formats of videos, because we're kind of having to come up with material to cover the days that we're away for this week, kind of on the fly. So we appreciate the patience and the understanding from you guys. Hopefully we won't lose many people from this.
Hopefully not.
So if we hit the coast and walk along the sand and all that, then we'll try to cover some of that. Just to kind of share that. And my arm is shaking because I need to work on calisthenics, because I'm out of the shape I was once in. So I think I'll call this vlog here. Anything else you want to add?
No.
But, don't fall off the sidewalk.
Look forward to more updates from us.
Yeah, I'll try to check in at least once daily. with whatever it is we are doing or plan on doing, have done, etc.
Yep.
So till then, thank you all kindly for sticking around, for your patience and understanding in all the situations. So I'm Kinsmarck here at Last Level Press.
I'm Violeta.
And as always, wish you all
Good gaming.
fair travels.
Fair
Good
travels.
gaming.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's a good catchphrase for that.
Fair travels.
And Godspeed.
Bye.